Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am your host, Josh Davis, also known as Crash, and today is Friday, March 10th, 2023. I am here to talk to you guys about the 6-game slate in the NBA tonight. If you're new to the channel, if you would hit the like button and then hit subscribe. After you've done those two things, if you could hit the alarm bell, that will let you know when our newest podcast has gone live. If this is your first time checking out DFS Coach Talk, we have a March Madness special right now where you can join us for the rest of the month, for the month of March, for only $19. So you just go to dfscoachtalk.com and you can sign up there. Actually, what you want to do is you want to go on Twitter and you want to DM Coach at DFS Coach Talk. And just send him a message letting him know that you want to sign up for the March Madness special, and he'll get you hooked up. So with that being said, we will go ahead and get right into it with the 6-game slate. Games start tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, starting out with the Portland Trailblazers at the Philadelphia 76ers. You've got Philadelphia favored by 9.5. It has a 232.5 over-under. For the Blazers, you've got Anthony Simons, who's listed as questionable, I think. Yeah, questionable. So I'm not sure if he's going to play. And then Archie Diacono, Baji, and Winslow are still out. For the Sixers, looks like they're healthy, so they should have their full squad. That's why they're favored by 9.5. This game has the most blowout potential. For the Blazers, you've got Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons if he starts, Matisse Thybulle, Jeremy Grant, and Yusuf Nurkic, who's back now for Portland. And then for Philadelphia, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, and Joel Embiid. The only play I'm really looking at in this game from the Portland side is, of course, going to be Damian Lillard. He's 10-9 on DraftKings, 10-8 on FanDuel, $50 on Yahoo. He did have 57 DraftKings points against the Sixers in Portland on January 19th. Coming in at only 5.1% on DraftKings, 6.4% on FanDuel, and 0.6% on Yahoo. For the Sixers, you have, of course, Embiid, 11.6 on DraftKings, 12,000 on FanDuel, $55 on Yahoo. Portland has allowed the fourth most fantasy points to centers. He's below 10% on all three sites, coming in at 8.6% on DraftKings, 5.9% on FanDuel, and 3.8% on Yahoo. Then you have James Harden. He's 10-3 on DraftKings, 10-6 on FanDuel, and $42 on Yahoo. Portland has allowed the ninth most fantasy points to point guards this year. Harden's averaged 64.4 DraftKings points in his last 3 games against Portland. He had 52 on January 19th in Portland. And he is at 8.3% on DraftKings, 6.7% on FanDuel, and 13% on Yahoo. Then you have Tyrese Maxey at 7,500 on DraftKings, 6,600 on FanDuel, and $22 on Yahoo. So FanDuel and Yahoo are my favorite spots for him. He's averaged 38.6 DraftKings points in his last 5 games, coming in at 0.6% on DraftKings, 23.6 on FanDuel, and 19.2% on Yahoo. Let me go ahead and take a look at the chat. Stacks Money 77, how's it going? Doug, what's up, buddy? King of all trades, yes. Friday NBA Slate vibes, TGIF, yes. Dead Presidents, how's it going? David, what's up? Double D. JT, how's it going, man? All right, so we've got Atlanta Hawks at Washington Wizards, also at 7 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta is favored by 1.5. It has a 238 over-under, which I think that might be the highest. Yeah, that's the highest on the slate. Both teams are healthy. These teams just played each other on Wednesday, so we have, kind of a decent idea, I think, of what to expect as far as projections here. For Atlanta, you got Trae Young at 9,300 on DraftKings, 9,500 on FanDuel, $38 on Yahoo. He's averaged 49.8 DraftKings points against Washington this year. He had 54.5 on Wednesday when they played. And he's at 13.4 on DraftKings, 12.3 on FanDuel, and 13.4 on Yahoo. And you have a little bit of a value play I like here in Bogdan Bogdanovic. He's 4,500 on DraftKings only. He's 6,000 on FanDuel, so I'm not quite sure I'm going to get to him over there. And then $18 is a good price on Yahoo. He had 36.5 DraftKings points against Washington on Wednesday. He's 11.5% owned on DraftKings, 0.4 on FanDuel, and 0.1 on Yahoo. So on FanDuel and Yahoo, the two sites, on DraftKings and Yahoo, those are the two sites where I would play him. I'm probably not going to go to him on FanDuel. At $18 at 0.1%, ownership on Yahoo, I really like that play for value. For the Wizards, you've got Porzingis, of course, 9,100 on DraftKings, 9,800 on FanDuel, $39 on Yahoo. The Hawks have allowed the third most fantasy points to power forwards this year. He had 59.8 DraftKings points against the Hawks on Wednesday. He is getting decent ownership. He's at 26.1% on DraftKings, 19.4% on FanDuel, and 31.8 on Yahoo. Next play I like from Washington is Bradley Beal, 8,400 on DraftKings, 9,000 on FanDuel, $34 on Yahoo. He's averaged 49 DraftKings points in his two games against the Hawks this year. He had 45.3 DraftKings points on Wednesday against Atlanta, and he is facing an Atlanta team that has allowed the ninth most fantasy points to shooting guards this year. He's at 20.6% on DraftKings, 19.4% on FanDuel, and 26.4% on Yahoo. Then you have the very chalky Kyle Kuzma play from the other day. Not quite as chalky today. 7,800 on DraftKings, 7,900 on FanDuel, $28 on Yahoo. He had 51 DraftKings points against the Hawks on Wednesday. They have allowed the seventh most fantasy points to small forwards. I think people are, kind of coming off of him a little bit after the big game he had on Wednesday, thinking he's going to regress some here. He's only at 10.1% on DraftKings, 14.1% on FanDuel. He is 26.4 on Yahoo, so still getting pretty decent ownership at the $28 price on Yahoo. The other play a lot of people seem to like is DeLon Wright. He's 5,400 on DraftKings, 5,600 on FanDuel, $20 on Yahoo. I will say that he's averaged 20.6 DraftKings points with Monty Morris in the lineup versus 27.6 without him. So I will be fading DeLon Wright. I just don't think that he can quite get the ceiling numbers that we need with Monty Morris back in the lineup. So I'll be fading DeLon Wright tonight. All right, so the next game is the Cleveland Cavaliers at the Miami Heat. I will be very brief on this one. Unless Darius Garland is out, I'm going to be fading this game. It has the lowest over-under at 212.5, so very low over-under. And these, two good defensive teams. Should be a really good game to watch as a viewer, but from a DFS standpoint, I just don't think that the numbers are there that we would need on this slate. So I think unless Garland sits and we can get some Karis LeVert, I will be fading the Cleveland and Miami game. The next game on this slate is going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern as well. It's Brooklyn Nets at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota is favored by 4.5. It has a 226.5 over under. The Nets, they should have their starting lineup back together tonight, with the exception of Ben Simmons. And, he's been out for a while, of course. I don't know, what exactly happened last night. It's crazy because I have NBA League Pass and I DVR'd the game between the Nets and the Bucks. I just watch all the Bucks games. And for some reason it didn't record. So I didn't get to see what happened. But it seemed like they just pulled their starters after the first quarter. So I don't expect that to happen again tonight. Should be a pretty good game between Brooklyn and Minnesota. They're pretty close in record. Brooklyn's 37-29. Minnesota's 34-33. And then for the Timberwolves, Noel and Towns are out, and Austin Rivers is questionable. So for the Nets, you've got a starting lineup projected with Spencer Dinwiddie, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Nicholas Claxton. And then for the Timberwolves, Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Kyle Anderson, and Rudy Gobert. In this game, there's not a whole lot that I like, honestly. I think Mikal Bridges is in a pretty good spot. He's averaged 45.3 DraftKings points in 3 games against the Timberwolves this year. Now, that was with Phoenix. That wasn't, of course, with Brooklyn because he wasn't with them yet when they played Minnesota. But he's 8,200 on DraftKings, 9,000 on FanDuel, and $31 on Yahoo. He's at 7.4% on DraftKings, 4.8% on FanDuel, and he is at 20.6 on Yahoo. And the Wolves, as of right now, I don't really have anybody that I like. So go ahead and take a look and see if you guys have any more questions. Hey, to Prince, how's it going, man? Yeah, so Double D, David Duloc, that is one of the things that I'm looking at as well. It's kind of a tricky slate. I'm gonna navigate my way through it, and hopefully as we get closer to lock, we'll have a better idea of where we want to go with our lineups. But I was kind of thinking the same way. It might play a little bit lighter than normal tonight. It's a pretty difficult slate. Not any clear, obvious value at this point. All right, so the next game is going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern also. Denver Nuggets at the San Antonio Spurs. Denver's favored by 12.5 as a 236 over under. Another game with a high blowout potential, so buyer beware here. You've got Kankar out, or questionable, Gillespie and Zeke Naji out. Kem Birch is out for the Spurs, and then Jeremy Sohan is probable. Romeo Langford is probable, and I think Doug McDermott is probably probable as well. Yeah, looks like so. All those guys should be able to play. So just Birch is out. So we've got for the Nuggets, Jamal Murray, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic. Spurs, Trey Jones, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, and Zach Collins. So, those teams are pretty healthy. You could look at the Joker. He's, of course, very expensive. He's 11.7 on DraftKings and FanDuel, $57 on Yahoo. Again, you have the blowout concerns. He's averaged 64.1 DraftKings points his last 5 games against the Spurs. And especially on Yahoo, he's only 1% owned. He's 13.6 on DraftKings, 10.6 on FanDuel. If you have the salary in tournaments, I think that the Joker could be a nice pay-up spot at only 1% projected ownership on Yahoo. And that will lead us into the last game of the night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. This is probably the game that most people are going to be paying attention to, I would think. The Toronto Raptors at the Los Angeles Lakers. Toronto comes in favored by 2, has a 224.5 over under. Will Barton is questionable. Now he's probable. Okay, so he's probable for Toronto, and then Mo Bamba and LeBron are out. D'Angelo Russell looks like he's going to play, and Anthony Davis is probably going to play as well. He's listed as probable. So you've got Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, Jakob Poeltl, and then for the Lakers, if Russell's back in the lineup, which it looks like he will be, D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Troy Brown, Jared Vanderbilt, and Anthony Davis. In this game, I like the Toronto plays more than the Lakers. I like Siakam. He's 8,700 on DraftKings, 8,900 on FanDuel, $36 on Yahoo. He's averaged 53.6 DraftKings points the last 4 times that he faced the Lakers. He had 53 DraftKings points on December 7th, and the Lakers have allowed the 4th most fantasy points to power forwards. Siakam is coming in at 14.5% on DraftKings, 18.6% on FanDuel, and 23.4% on Yahoo. Then you have Fred VanVleet. He's 8,300 on DraftKings, 8,400 on FanDuel, $34 on Yahoo. The Lakers have allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to point guards this year, and he is pretty chalky. He's at 24.3% on DraftKings, 38.1% on FanDuel, and 28.4% on Yahoo. On Yahoo, not as much on DraftKings and FanDuel, but on Yahoo, I also think you could look at Jakob Poeltl. The Lakers have allowed the third most fantasy points to centers, and he's 24.2% over there. So in the cash and single entry, I think that, Pirtle's an option as a little bit of a value center. He is only averaging 28.9 DraftKings points in his last 3 games. So it's a little bit concerning. Hasn't been putting up as big of numbers as he was just a few weeks ago. So that's one concern. But like I said, it is a good matchup. The Lakers have been allowing a lot of points to centers. And then on the Lakers, I'm pretty much fading them. I'm fading Anthony Davis. The Raptors have allowed the 4th fewest fantasy points to centers. He's only averaged 37.9 DraftKings points the last 2 times he faced Toronto. He's coming in at pretty, decent low ownership. For a guy without LeBron in the lineup, you would think he might be a little bit higher owned. But I think people are recognizing this matchup, and it's been pretty tough for him, the last several times he's faced Toronto. He's at 9.3% on DraftKings, 12.8% on FanDuel, and 8.4% only on Yahoo. So not quite as high ownership as we've seen from him of late with LeBron out. And there is a value play here that I do like, though. It's Troy Brown Jr. He's 4,400 on DraftKings. He is 5,000 on FanDuel and $11 on Yahoo. So that is one of the only value plays, honestly, on the slate that I was really able to find that I liked. It's pretty hard to find value, at least at this point on this slate. So before we get into PrizePicks, does anybody else have any other questions? Yeah, I get the Embiid play, king of all trades, but I'm just a little bit concerned that Philadelphia is going to win by, 20 or more points. Basically, it's going to be a blowout. Yeah, same thing with the Spurs and Nuggets. I think that game could blow out too. Those games I'm probably going to be avoiding for the most part. Although with the 1% ownership for Joker on Yahoo, I think that's a good move in the tournaments for sure. All right, so for PrizePicks, what I'm looking at is I've got Jimmy Butler more than 39.5 fantasy score. He's gone over that number in 4 of his last 5 games. He's averaged 45.1 fantasy points in his 2 games against the Cavs this year. And then Kristaps Porzingis, more than 42.5 fantasy score. He had 55.5 against them on Wednesday. He's averaging 46.2 fantasy points in his last 5 games. So those are my 2 PrizePicks plays. If I find anything else I like, I will post it in the Discord later. I believe tomorrow we're going to be looking at both Coach and I are going to be doing the podcast. So looking forward to that. I don't even know what the slate is. I know the Bucks are playing the Warriors, and I'm excited about that game for sure. I think Dallas is playing tomorrow too, so you'll get Coach's takes on them. So hope everybody enjoyed the show. Hope everybody has an awesome Friday night. Let's absolutely crush it. If you guys know me, you know I love these 4 to 6 game slates. They're pretty much my sweet spot. So hopefully we absolutely crush it tonight. And Coach and I will be back again tomorrow when we look to crush it in NBA, DFS, and PrizePicks. Thank you.